Okay, so today it looks like the AT&T acquisition of Time Warner AOL, whatever it is going to go through, which means a giant media company is about to be created. At the same time, as you probably know, Comcast is busy trying to buy Fox, which is being by Disney. So we're seeing a huge change in the macro end of the landscape between what used to be cable channels and broadcast television, which was pretty linear and understandable business, and now a move into what I would call digital nonlinear. This is all being driven. It started with Netscape, which started off as, a DVD rental thing, and then went online, and now is this giant behemoth that everybody watches. There's a huge change going on in the media video landscape, and the question is, what does it mean for us, the small content creators? Where does our niche now exist? And more importantly, how can we make money out of this, and how can we make a career out of it? I mean, you could go to work for Netscape or Disney or one of these giant companies, and that's fine. And that's one end of the market, and that market is obviously pretty substantial. We'll call that the high-end quality product one, and whether it's movies or video or television or series like The Crown, it doesn't really make any difference. The Crown is going out at $3 million per hour now, which you and I are not going to make on our phones, so that part of the business is established. The middle part of the business is the one that's dying, the one that used to make cable TV shows for $100,000 or $150,000 per half hour or $300,000 per half hour, because that market is dying. Because when you compare tuning in to a cable channel, which only shows something at 8 o'clock and a different thing at 9 o'clock, linear television, versus going to Netscape or online, everyone is going to Netscape. In fact, Lisa and I just cut the cable this week. We're done with cable, Time Warner, bye-bye, have a good time with AT&T, and everything we get now goes online. We're able to get 300 or 400 megabits per second, so we stream everything. And the amazing thing is, we're watching much, much better stuff. We used to flip through those cable channels and, one terrible thing after another, and 1,200 or 2,000 channels or something nobody really wanted to watch. And now we just pick and choose what we want to do. So between Amazon and Netflix, and ironically, YouTube, where we watch a lot of obscure British programs like Escape to the Country or Country File, and there's thousands of them. We can pick anyone we want anytime. And we also, because we got this app from Spectrum, we're able to get all the broadcast channels and PBS and stuff like that. So we're quite happy with our $20 a month now for the cable thing, and we're happy to get rid of cable and just get everything online. So the middle ground, which used to be broadcasting cable, is disappearing. But where does that leave us? That leaves us on the other extreme, which I would call homemade, independent, phone-generated video, and that's an expanding business. So we've bifurcated the video industry. It's gone to two places now. One is very high-end, and if you can get a business there, and God bless you, that's great. But it's difficult because there's so much capital necessary to be made up in advance. It's a very expensive business. So on that end, there's going to be fewer projects, but really high intensity and lots of money spent on them. On our end, there's going to be literally millions and millions of projects, but very low cost. So there's a whole world opening here, as Richard Feynman, who's one of my lifelong heroes, physicist who won the Nobel Prize, wrote a terrific book or an essay that said there's plenty of room at the bottom. And what he was talking about was actually nanophysics, which I'm not going to get into because I don't understand it. But the line is right. There's plenty of room at the bottom for us, because this entire universe of online, whether it's Facebook Watch or Instagram going to 60-minute videos or YouTube, or that entire spectrum of content now is open to us, what we'll call the low-end or inexpensive content creator. But this is a volume business. You're not going to make a living making your 1-minute grumpy cat video, the odds are, and then expecting to make millions of dollars out of it. It's like being a freelance writer. If you go to a magazine store, if you can still find one, and you go to the racks and you see where these magazines are sold, there's thousands and thousands and thousands or hundreds of successful, look for the thick ones, not the little skinny ones, and if you open the masthead, which is on the front page, and it lists who the authors are, you'll find the staff of the magazine is very small, but all this vast content is made by legions of freelance writers who write for different magazines, and some of them make a pretty good living at it. That is where our end of the video business is going to go. We will become freelance or associated or have certain production contracts. content creators. The trick here is you have to do it yourself. You start hiring crews, you're going to go broke. You have to do it inexpensively. You have to do it with your own personal content. And if you can do that, you can make a living at it. I'm not going to answer the phone because this is more important. So the fact is that the future belongs to one of these two areas. Either it's this very high-end production stuff, and again, if you can get into that business, God bless you, that's great. And the other end is the end that we are working on, which is how do I make a living with an iPhone making video. You're not going to make The Crown, you're not going to make Breaking Bad with your phone, but those are relatively expensive, but a small part of the vast percentage of what will occupy the internet space, which is where all video is going to exist. So in this video and in future videos, I'm going to be explaining to you, Lisa and I are going to be explaining to you, how you have the skill set. If you don't have the skill set, we can certainly provide you with the skill set. But the real question is, once you have the skill set, how do I make a living at this? How do I monetize it? Because just making your own videos and sticking them on YouTube or Facebook for your friends to watch is fun, but a total waste of time. And your career shouldn't be a waste of time, but it certainly should be fun.